7555-1067. And as the conversation interests you, at whatever juncture you'd like to drop a comment, ask a question, whatever it is, just leave us a comment on either the WhatsApp platform or the Facebook platform. My name is Lola Meduteni. Good morning once again.
All right, before we continue, let's listen to our first message from the sponsors of today's program, the Women Consortium of Nigeria. When we get back, we'll introduce our topic and, of course, our guest this morning. Stay with us.
My people, no doubt you've been hearing of the Homegrown School Feeding Program, an initiative of the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration to support states in feeding over 24 million pupils in public primary schools across the Federation. Yes, the program has started in Ogun State with provision of free nutritional meals for primary 1 to 3 pupils in all the 20 local governments from Monday to Friday. Ogun State government is doing its best in making sure the program is a huge success and beneficial to the pupils, the farmers who supply protein and other foodstuffs, and the caterers who cook and serve it to the children. The program is not a community feeding project and not for some people to enrich themselves. Please do your part in ensuring that this program is a success. If you suspect any wrongdoing anywhere concerning the Homegrown School Feeding Program in Ogun State, please call 0803-334-7896. Let's work together to ensure smooth, credible, and efficient systems. This message was brought to you courtesy of Women Consortium of Nigeria, WOCAN, with support from MacArthur Foundation.
àǹtí mi ìṣọwọ́ fọwọ́ ilẹ̀ ẹnujọ́ mẹ́ta yìí máa wà nílé gbà kan sí kí ló dé.
àbúrò irẹ́ ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí ṣé o gbọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó ń lọ nílùú ni coronavirus tó ń fa àjàkálẹ̀ àrùn covid-19 kò má tí ì lóògùn coronavirus á máa wọnú ara láti ojú imú àti ẹnu àrùn yẹn á máa fa ẹ̀fọ́rí ara gbígbóná ara ríro ikọ́ gbígbẹ òtútù kásín àti ká má lè mí dáadáa ó ṣeé ṣe kí ó tó ọjọ́ 5 sí 14 kí àpẹẹrẹ àrùn yìí ó tó hàn jáde lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí ìmọ́tótó ká wọ ìbòjú bomú àti kí ara ó jìnnà tí ara máa lóògùn ẹ̀ ṣe ìrántí láti fọwọ́ rẹ pẹ̀lú ọṣẹ àti omi ní gbogbo ìgbà tí o bá fi ọwọ́ kan nǹkan tàbí tí o fẹ́ jẹun má ṣe fi ọwọ́ kan ojú àti imú rẹ wọ ìbòjú bomú rẹ kí o tún jáde ní ilé kí o sì wọ ìbọ̀wọ́ pẹ̀lú ṣe àkíyèsí sí i má ṣe súnmọ́ ẹnikẹ́ni rí i wípé bí kàkà mẹ́ta wà láàrin ìwọ àti ẹnikẹ́ni ní gbogbo ìgbà. Ìkéde yìí wá láti ilé-iṣẹ́ Women Consortium of Nigeria, WOCOM, Ogun State, Homegrown School Feeding Program pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn MacArthur Foundation.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Welcome back to Panorama, and we kick off now. And what we're looking at today is sustainability mechanisms in public projects. And we have joining us Mr. Damilola Shodia, he's Executive Director, Positive Outreach Foundation. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning, everybody.
Can we start with what exactly the Positive Outreach Foundation is about?
Thank you very much. Positive Outreach Foundation, now Positive Community Outreach Foundation, is a non-governmental organization that complements, the effort of government, bridging the gap, bringing governance to the people, providing social services, and bringing it to the doorstep of the people with focus on women, young people, and the vulnerable group.
How does this relate with the Homegrown School Feeding Program, which we know work on is very...
Of course, one of the key activities of Positive Outreach is to also promote accountability and transparency and good governance. So bringing back to the Homegrown School Feeding Project is also a core promoting accountability in the Homegrown School Feeding Project. So there's a connect between Positive Outreach Foundation and WOCON.
So you have like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, it's symbiotic, and it's a sustainable one anyway. It's been together for the years.
So what exactly are your own focus areas when it comes to the Homegrown School Feeding Program?
For the Homegrown School Feeding Program, one, we monitor the cook that brings the food to the school. One. Two, also to build the capacity of community actors to be able to respond to issues around homegrown school feeding. Also mediating on behalf of the pupils to the government, and also supporting the government to ensure that there's a smooth sale of this project in Ogun State. Even after the intervention of these funders, a system whereby it will be sustainable, and the government is taking actions. So most of the recommendations we give to the government is fine that yes, we are seeing all these recommendations translating into positive actions.
So during your involvement, what specific improvement have you noticed, especially with involvement of NGOs as accountability partners, like WorkOn, of course, in monitoring?
Okay, thank you very much. From the commencement of the program, before WorkOn and other cohort partners joined, it's a program that is designed to see to school feeding at least 1 meal per day for pupils in primary 1 to 3, with the objective of increasing school enrollment, retaining those who are already in school, and also to provide nutritious, at least we are sure that the child has a nutritious meal. To also, look at the LD being of the child. So it was business as usual. But when organizations like WorkOn and other cohort partners came in, we saw that one of the significant people I say that people are accountable, from when the cook will do the things the way they want to do it, that yes, this is my share of the national cake. It has changed to, I have a job, I need to deliver. The aggregators, the cold chain partners too, they have a role to play. So it's now everybody has now understand that this is my role, I'm going to play, and I am accountable. The word accountable is there now. And I'm accountable to the children, I'm accountable to the government, I'm accountable to the community, and I'm even accountable to he or herself. Either you are a cook or an aggregator or even the parents of the cook. Can you imagine a system whereby a sustainable platform that is being left behind, where a parent of the cook is also monitoring what is happening in the school where my child eats? So we have the SBMC, we have the PTA, SBMC School-Based Management Committee members, we have the Parent-Teacher Associations, there's a designated health teacher in the school, and there's an accountability board in the school now that on the Monday, today's Tuesday, whatever the cook is bringing, it will be on the accountability board. How many pupils were fed? How many pupils were assigned to you? What could be the possible variants? You can also ask what happens to the leftover food. So before, people were not asking questions, but when WorkOn and other core partner came in, these questions are being asked, and systematically it's now translating to behavioral change from everybody who is involved. And at this point in time, the reports get to the Homegrown School Feeding Office at the state government in real time. When I mean real time, they can sit in the office, look at what is happening through the digital platform. I think we'll still speak about that too. So, interestingly, it has not been business as usual. It has been accountable business now, that I have every reason to be accountable to people who actually engage me. If I'm a cook, and as a parent, I have every reason to also see what is happening in the school where my child is feeding. And of course, as aggregators who also supply the protein content to the cook, they also have every reason to be accountable to the cook so that they can get to the children. So it's a chain that is going on perfectly well now.
Okay, what are some of the success stories that have been recorded, as well as the lessons that have been learned, since the Homegrown School Feeding Program took on, and with the involvement of NGOs like WorkOn?
Thank you very much. One of the key lessons that I see that is playing out is the involvement, WorkOn and other core partners were involving the community. Involving the community in the sense that they are the people. The school belongs to the community. So there's more to, going to school. We have the health teacher, who is a teacher, who sees to the quality and the quantity of the food. We have the parents, like I mentioned earlier, who also take charge to see what is happening. Now, in community development association meetings, school feeding has been a point of agenda and a discussion. It wasn't like that in the past. So what I see is that if you plan with the community, with the stakeholders involved in a project, not planning for them, if you plan with them, you definitely see the desired result. So planning with them, what WorkOn did, is a good one because we have community actors, we have different ones, even from the religious settings to the traditional settings, whereby they are taking ownership of this. Even when Wokon is not doing more, you will see that yes, there's a grip in terms of getting these deliverables on the homegrown school feeding program.
So let's talk about sustainability now, why it is important in accountability projects like this.
Sustainability is very key, not even in only accountability projects, in everything you do. Because if you plan for a project, you should see that the project should outlive the persons who are involved, and the project should go on for a long time, and that is why when we don't put sustainability plan into our planning, we see that most of the programs, even the government programs you see, will be abandoned, or somebody somewhere will just forget about it, not taking the continuity. So sustainability is a mechanism that is very key in anything you do. So that's why I give it to Wokon and other cohort partners who have, at the inception of their intervention, they are seeing that the community persons are key stakeholders to sustain this process of monitoring the deliverables on the homegrown school feeding project. Of course, the community people comes from the CDA, like I told you, like part of the plan. Homegrown school feeding project is a discussion in the community when they are having their meetings. In PTA meetings is a discussion. In PTA meetings, the health teacher and the health teacher will be accountable to the parent to say, this is how far we have gone in feeding primary 1 to 3. In this time, this is what we have been able to do. The challenges and the recommendations and how they overcame the challenge. So people are accountable. For the fact that a teacher is being transferred, will not even stop that process, because it's a process that has started from inception and it's outliving the project now.
Now, in defining sustainability, would you define it as, using the case of the homegrown school feeding program as an example, would you define it as the program continuing to run indefinitely, or would you describe sustainability as perhaps when whatever duration assigned for it lapses, then the community people will carry on a similar scheme for themselves? How would you define sustainability?
For both, it goes on. Yeah, homegrown school feeding project should outlive itself, should outlive even the idea of the government in power, because the objectives of the homegrown school feeding should speak to its sustainability. One of the key objectives, like I mentioned earlier, is that homegrown school feeding is designed to increase school enrollment, also to retain children in school, pupils in school, and also to improve the nutritional value of the students, to make them healthy. When you are healthy, you have a sound mind to be able to, assimilate what you'll be taught in school. And also to empower, part of the key deliverables, to also empower the women. So they are being engaged as cook. So you are giving them some kind of empowerment, some kind of, they're being empowered to also meet their own demands. They can actually, being a cook in the school, they can also get engagement as vendors in the outside community. And also, it has also provided a platform of market base for our own household farmers in the state, because the produce that is being brought by the cook is from the products of farmers in Ogun State. So Ogun State also is interested in developing agriculture. So you can see the way it's going. The trend is that if you do it this way, it's getting the desired result. And the aggregators are also small-scale enterprises who are also doing business. And from the aggregators, we have the cold-chain partners. So this has improved people's business, and it's sustaining a healthy lifestyle. They are meeting their basic needs. So sustainability goes in both. For homegrown school feeding, like I've just explained, that it should live thereafter. Even the government in power, the people who designed it, it should keep rolling. I want to see a situation by somebody who has been fed as a primary 1 student, and the next year still seeing homegrown school feeding while in the university still running.
Right. Okay, now let's talk about some of the sustainability strategies and mechanisms that you have noticed, or your foundation, the Positive Community Outreach Foundation, has noticed that have been put in place by WOCON and other NGOs working to ensure accountability and transparency in the Homegrown School Feeding Program?
Okay, I will start from the tools that was developed for monitoring. The tool is a very easy tool that you can, even if you lie as one of the cook that is supposed to fill the tool, even if you lie, it's shown that you are lying. That's one. From the tool, the capacity development of community accountability partners or community actors. They're just there. But now, imagine a community accountability partners, being headed by the traditional ruler. It's there. That is 2. 3 is also providing a digital platform for reporting. That at the end of the day, what happens in the school gets to the authority at the state capital. Not even without, in the years back, you need to travel to go and do your on-site monitoring. But now, in real time, you can sit down through the digital platform to say, after they have imputed what happened in the school on a daily basis. So at the state level, they can see XYZ number of schools that the cook actually fed pupils, number of pupils that were served, what happened to the cook that were not there. So this tool is self-explanatory, that it is, we have the digital and the manual. But now we are actually focusing on the digital. So it's as that if I sit down in my office, I can do an analysis in the next 5 minutes to say, out of the 20 local governments, how many schools do we have? How many schools are actually being served today? I can fix my eyes and start asking questions to inform policies, to inform decisions, to say, okay, do we need to employ more cooks? Do we need to re-strategize to say we want to improve on the protein content with what we have seen? So it's a good strategy and a mechanism to sustain this process.
We're having a conversation this morning with Mr. Damilola Shodia, the Executive Director, Positive Outreach Foundation, and we're looking at sustainability mechanisms in public projects, especially sustainability for the Homegrown School Feeding Program. Today's program, the first segment of Panorama, every third Tuesday of the month, is sponsored by the Women Consortium of Nigeria, who are also supported by the MacArthur Foundation. We'll take some other messages from our partners on today's program, and we'll be right back to continue the conversation. Please stay with us.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
My people, I sure say you for don't hear about the Homegrown School Feeding Program. Now, Ogbonge initiative for President Muhammadu Buhari administration, where they give all the states them inside to give food to over 24 million children of public primary school. Wait and that for Niger. As you know, Ogun State not they carry last. You don't start the program free, correct me. Now we they give primary 1 to 3 pupils for the 20 local government area from Monday go reach Friday. Ogun State government now they do every to make sure say success plus benefit follow our children plus farmers where they provide the correct food. Them. Make we not come forget the caterers. Now, open your ear. The program not be community feeding project and in no day for some people to collect money for them pocket. Now here it concern you. The government now need your help to see say not only our children then they feed with the program wella. If you suspect any kolobi or it play on top the Homegrown School Feeding Program, do hello on top 0803-334-7896. This message now from Women Consortium of Nigeria with collabo from MacArthur Foundation. My people, no doubt you've been hearing of the Homegrown School Feeding Program, an initiative of the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration to support states in feeding over 24 million pupils in public primary schools across the Federation. Yes, the program has started in Ogun State with provision of free nutritional meals for primary 1 to 3 pupils in all the 20 local governments from Monday to Friday. Ogun State government is doing its best in making sure the program is a huge success and beneficial to the pupils, the farmers who supply protein and other foodstuffs, and the caterers who can serve it to the children. The program is not a community feeding project and not for some people to enrich themselves. Please do your part in ensuring that this program is a success. If you suspect any wrongdoing anywhere concerning the Homegrown School Feeding Program in Ogun State, please call 0803-334-7896. Let's work together to ensure smooth, credible, and efficient systems. This message was brought to you courtesy of Women Consortium of Nigeria, WOCON, with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Welcome back. This is Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. We still have with us in the studio Mr. Lola Meduteni. So we've talked about what accountability partners, NGOs like Homegrown, like yourself, what community can do to ensure sustainability. But what part does government play, or what part should government play to ensure sustainability in this regard?
Thank you very much. For government, number one, government has to be sincere with the process, and I think that is being done now. That is being done. Aside from being sincere with that process, is also to ensure that, to break a lot of bureaucracy, that prompt release of fund for the cook to do the needful, whereby we have issues where cook will get funds at a later date, so that they can meet the demands of the. Of course, there are some issues, yes, that the cook themselves bring on board, which also delay these processes. But for government, it should ensure that this the process is free and fair. Then the recruitment of new cook should also be free and fair, and they should be objective in doing that. Then when they get this real-time information of what is happening, this can inform decision-making processes easier. So decision-making processes or issues that need to be promptly attended to should be done. And it's government, and working with government is a very good experience. We also want them to, be on top of the game. They are doing very good. They are doing very well. There's a great synergy with NGOs and the government in terms of helping this homegrown school feeding to work. But the way they are doing very well, I want them to have also more grips on all the schools. So when something is being reported, actions should be taken on board. For instance, cooks are begin to be accountable to this process. There's a school that they have not started, feeding this session, but a cook who had fund from the last session still has the previous, that she still has the money with her, actually brought food to a school in a particular local government in the state. You can see accountability working. Government has played that level, and it's also opened more doors for more private partnerships. For instance, we want the extension of the school feeding from primary 1 to 3 to cover the whole school. So government should also play that level of opening partnerships for people to take that key into this process. I imagine I'm in primary 1, I've been fed in primary 2, I've been fed in primary 3, I'm now in primary 4. I'll be looking like, I'm not eating again. You understand? And the cycle of little children, primary 5, primary 6, or somebody who has a younger one in primary 1 and you're in primary 4. The moment you collect your food in primary 1, I can call my brother, bring your food, let's eat together, we are from the same family. You understand? So government should also work on this to ensure that we can extend from primary 3 to primary 6.
Okay, you can join the conversation on Facebook, where we're live streaming, so you get the audio-visual experience. On Facebook, we're Splash FM 106.7, WhatsApp 817-555-1067. We're talking sustainability mechanisms in public projects, with particular focus on the Homegrown School Feeding Program. Remember, once again, that this segment is sponsored by the Women Consortium of Nigeria, WOCON, who themselves are supported by the MacArthur Foundation. And we're talking to Mr. Lola Meduteni, ED, Executive Director, Positive Outreach Foundation. Now, the government is not the only stakeholder involved in a public project like the Homegrown School Feeding Program. There are other stakeholders like parents, community actors, other CSOs. What is their responsibility in ensuring the success and the sustainability of this mechanism?
Thank you very much. Let me start from the CSO. The constituency I belong to is to ensure that, one, as part of our deliverables to ensure that we see to the successful implementation of government projects. It's not because it's government projects. We should look at the objective of the project and ensure, for instance, government is providing infrastructure. What is the social value? What is the economical value? And what is the human angle to that infrastructure? When we look at it, you give it the 101% support to ensure the smooth sailing. So also goes to the homegrown school feeding project. Like I mentioned earlier, the objective is to, increase school enrollment, retain school children, empower our women, and make markets for the locally produced agricultural products. So when we see this as civil society organizations, all we need to do is to play a platform to ensure that this process is fair, the implementation is successful because of the desired objective. As parents, there's more to that. My children is also just going to the school. Parents can actually analyze what the school feeding project is from their children at home by asking, how many cooks do you have in your school? What time do they actually, bring food to the school? Is it after the break time or before the break time? What are the attitudes of this cook? Did you have because there's a designated and government designed plates that the pupils need to eat with. They don't need to bring plates from their homes. All these, are they available in your school? As a parent, I keep asking this question so that this will also inform my decisions when I'm going to the school, to also engage the school authority to say, I was in a school and I see that before the plates of the federal government plates, gets to the school, a teacher actually bought plates for the pupils in primary one where she's teaching. I've seen a situation whereby the cooks are also bringing plates from their home to ensure that, yes, because for the homegrown school, there's a measuring spoon, there's a certain quantity that a child must eat. So from that, parents can do that home analysis and, take. Then for the community actors, the community action actors and accountability partners, the design is that about 6 persons becomes a community accountability partner for a school, which involve the head teacher as an observer, the health teacher representing the school, and that's the person who see to the quality and the quantity of the food. That is 2. The parents, the SBMC, the representative of the cook, they're in their committee in that school. And what they do is everybody look at it. So issues that comes around, they are able to deal with it. And they have a traditional ruler they can always report to. And at the local government level, there's education board that when issues cannot be identified, they cannot be resolved, they can take it to that before coming to the states to take action. So there are roles of everybody at every stage. There are roles people. Then for the aggregators who supply the protein content, they also have the role to play in ensuring that the protein content meets the desirable measurement. There is a perfect storage facility so that before the protein content gets to the cook, they also have a role to ensure this process, and also to their own coaching partners who also get from there. So everybody has a role to play to ensure that it is. So the moment we now close our eyes to say this is a government project, we don't want to get involved, we'll be affected one way or the other. I have been in a situation where we need to sensitize the community, and a parent was telling me directly that, this school feeding is an APC platform. My child belongs to the other party, they will not eat. I have to engage. It's not about the government in power. It's about your child. It's about the child being healthy. It's about the child being in school. So when you don't communicate that benefit, they change, their behavior to say, yes, this is it. So at every point, everybody has a role to play. Even the bank, where the cook gets their fund, they also have a role to play. The cook themselves have a role to play in supplying the required information to process funding.
Before we get back to talk about the digital platform, which we referenced earlier, we've talked about it on previous programs too. We have this message on Facebook. Fatumbi Taiwo Oluwaseun Esther. She said, The program was flagged as Homegrown School Feeding and Health Program, HGSFHP. But why was the health aspect dropped?
Is that something that you can answer, or?
Well, from inception, the Homegrown School Feeding Project is homegrown school feeding project. The health component, the way they designed this program and the department, the health component is not left behind. We have people from the health sector, we have people from the Ministry of Agric, Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Women Affairs, everybody that comes together form this process. So the health, we can't play with the health part of it. It's not been, probably maybe looking at the acronyms, HGSFP, Homegrown School Feeding. So the health component is not dropped. Even if the health is not sounding in the acronym, it's not dropped, because for every cook, before you can be recruited, there are certain processes. Each cook has to go through series of medical tests, which also involve hepatitis tests, and which is done by the Ministry of Health and Primary Care Board. So can you see that component is not? So, and it is not just one-off. It is done after six months, so that we can see then there's this monitoring component that also look at what is the hygienic condition of preparing the food. It's also health and nutrition component. It's not missed out at all. So perhaps maybe it's because the H is not standing in the acronym is why that our friend is saying that.
How it's used. The digital platform, you said it's used for recording, monitoring activities. Explain the features of this platform. I think you said it's easy to use, easy to understand.
Yeah, very well.
So explain the modalities. It's something anyone can download. Maybe an interested citizen who wants to perform their civic duties, observing something, they want to contribute. How is it set up? What's the setup of the digital platform?
Okay, fine. For the digital platform, you have to have an Android phone. That's the first point. There's an app that you input information, and the information starts from the name of the school, the geographical location, picking the longitude and the latitude to say this is the school.
Before you go further, the Android phone that you must have, do you download the app?
Yes, you download the app
from Play Store.
You download it. It's called Survey 123.
Survey 123. So anyone listening can download.
Anyone listening can download, but we have to be objective in reporting. But you can download the app, but it might not be useful for you as an individual.
Right.
But because there's an accountability board, that the information you need is in the school.
Okay.
And the accountability board is rightly placed where anybody, when you are entering the school, you see it. It is very legible. It's not something that is hidden in the head teacher's office. No, it's on the wall. You see it as big as it is. You see the days of the week, the name of the school, the information you need. On Monday, what happens? On Tuesday. So out of these community actors, the accountability partners, there's a designated person who now impute this from the board, who impute this information, taking the name of the school, the geographical location, taking the GPRS, taking the name of who is the head teacher, the names of the cook, how many pupils were assigned to each cook, what was the menu list on that day. Did the cook actually brought the food in accordance with it? Not just if the children are to eat rice and stew on a Tuesday, and the cook brought yam, saying that probably yam is what is in the market. That is not, the cook has actually defaulted. Does the cook bring food according to the menu? How many number of persons was assigned to the cook? How many persons did the cook serve that day? What is the size of the protein content? How many cooks were there in the, if a school has 5 cooks, how many cooks actually brought food that day? What is the time, the timing? What is the quality of the food? What is the quantity of the food? These are information that are spawning up in the app that you keep responding to. The moment you click submit, even though you're on the water side, you are clicking submit. At the state level here, in their office, they get that report immediately. So every school is mandated to fill this accountability board on a daily basis.
That's on the app.
on the app on a daily basis. So the moment it gets, I can have a whole lot of reports. But now on the digital platform, it has a dashboard. The dashboard speaks to each local government. In the local government, I can just drop down Abeokuta South. I click. Wow. The dashboard gives me the number of schools in Abeokuta South. If I click any school in Abeokuta South, what happens? The dashboard gives me what happened in Abeokuta South that very day, Tuesday. At the end of the day, I have seen it. And funny enough, in the dashboard, it analyzes itself, gives you a kind of map, gives a progression of what is happening.
Was this an initiative of the federal government or of accountability partners within the states?
The dashboard,
the
digital
platform.
Yeah, that's the work of the NGOs that worked on this project. The court, like people like
in Ogun State.
Yes, in Ogun State, work on.
So we don't have this app for other states.
Ogun State is the first to use this app now, and I'm sure that in the years we had some other states coming to take a learn at the Homegrown State to come and learn how Ogun State is implementing the school feeding project, and I'm sure they're taking a learning from that. So Ogun State is the first state using this digital platform of reporting, and it's very interesting. You can actually sit down, know what is actually happening, take decisions immediately. For instance, a cook is supposed to serve 100 pupils, and number of people served is 10. It calls for, an action to be what happened.
Okay. From all you've said, this digital platform does sound accessible. But what role will government actors, community, and others play in the process?
For community actors, like I said, we have them in every school. And the combination of community actors, I will say it again, is the parent of the child that is feeding, especially that's women, the cook, too, the PTA representative,
the school-based
monitoring committee, management committee representative, the head teacher, and the health teacher. Now, one of them will fill this form after they have agreed together that this is what happens in our school. So that process, it is not likely that the information will be manipulated, because I have a stake as a parent. My child is eating. So if you want to manipulate such information, I will sort of say, okay. You understand?
But before you go on, is there a way to now double check that this information being supplied indeed, is the true situation?
Yes. The local government level, we have the education department, local government education authority. They have a desk officer for Homegrown school feeding program, who also does same thing to double check the content of that information. Aside from that, NGOs are still there to also look at that same process. So the report is coming from, and at a time, the states always do a kind of more of feedback. Quarterly, today, feedback session to say, this is how far we have gone. They made presentations. This is what has happened. This is what we're able to do to address the concerns that came up in this quarter, which is the feedback session is a key thing whereby everybody is involved. So I can raise an eyebrow if I'm saying, okay, this is not what was reported in that school compared to what you're saying.
All right, let's get to the phone lines to see if we can accommodate some calls while we also still engage you on some other aspects. 0704-400-1067, 0817-444-1067, 0817-555-1067. Those are the phone lines to be a part of the program, which is also the WhatsApp portal. But we have a comment on Facebook from
WhatsApp.
Santiran Akinola Oluwarantimi. Said, good morning. I will digress a bit on my take this morning. My take is all about... Okay, let's take this call before I continue with that message. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I've been listening to your program this morning.
Thank you. You have not told us your name and where you're calling from.
Oh, Lola Meduteni from Abeokuta.
All right, please go on.
Even when Mrs. Olagbegi, one of those people before I've called her many times that the quality of the food being given to the children are not what they have been saying. Though there's never been a time that egg was supplied. And the meat, small thing. I've even told the minister of
please
Social
turn down the
Security-
volume on your radio, sir. We can hear a feedback noise.
Okay, I think it's better like this.
Yes, it is.
There's never been a time that egg was given. Most of the school inside the area in Obafemi, no time. The type of meat with very small fish and the food are not even enough. These are told Mrs. Olagbegi many times. So all what that accountability, what they are saying, it's not working because it did not factor the input of the head teacher or cricket mistress in the various school. All those things are just academic exercise. If you want to find what I'm saying, you want to confirm that right or wrong, go to those schools without. You will see the type of they are giving them. Don't inform them that you are coming. Just go there. You will see it. They may be doing fine in Abeokuta metropolis because of people from Abuja. These people will come in the rural area. Go there without any clear information. Then you could say whether I'm telling the truth or not. I'm very close to most of the schools, and I saw what they are being given. It's just unfortunate. Even the cost per meal, sir. How can 17 naira? Because when you are the vendor, okay, how much are you being paid for to feed the people? Can 17 naira feed the people in this country? When you take that's why they got the challenge. They never give these people egg. They say an egg with almost 15 naira, 17 naira. How do they do it?
All right.
So if you say their homegrown food is okay, but you want to give them egg at 17 naira, not to order naira per puppy. Can that be enough? At all, cannot. When they give them eba, you see the type of soup they prepare, no meat.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Can you give us specifics? These rural areas that
You
you
said
mentioned.
Obafemi Owode local government.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
input.
You possibly get a call after the program as well from them, maybe for more information. We've taken your number.
I also need to Hello, sir. Are you still there with us?
Oh man.
Okay, I'm sure you are listening. So let me first clear the air that Wokon works in Odeda, Ikene, Imekwafo, and Abeokuta North. And being that is me, you mentioned the issue of egg. At the feedback session we had with the state government, this is one of the key things we talked about, the content of the product. And now, Ogun State government is moving to feeding the school children with egg. That's the thing now. And the egg will be a whole egg that will not be shelled. So it won't be peeled, it will be given to the children. That's one of the key take home from the last discussion we had. And again, increasing the quantity of the food.
So that is taken off.
It is taken off from this. It's taken off because the school enrollment is increasing. Of course, it's increasing.
Right. Let's get back to the phone lines. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, TJ from Magbon.
Good morning to you, TJ.
Good morning, Mr. Adam. Lola
You are not Tajuddin.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, Tajuddin from Magbon.
All right, please go
Good morning, Mr. Adam.
Good morning.
Yes. On this issue of school feeding program, one, you mentioned the M&E too. You said if there is a lie, there is a way that can be tasted. The first question is how. Then second, I think under the school feeding program, they also need to be giving them fruit. Or let me say it was said that fruit is part of their meal, their menu. But so far, I have never seen any fruit given to these students, especially in Abeokuta. Because I've been privileged to see one or two schools and follow up with the school feeding program. So I've not seen them being given fruit, maybe oranges, watermelon, and the like. So how is it so?
All right. Thank you very much, Tajuddin, for your contribution.
Let me race through the comments before you answer that question. Well, this one from WhatsApp is from Kende Gabriel, who says, is there any provision on ground to extend this initiative to other classes? He's also asking, is there any agency on the part of the government that monitors the activities of the program?
Yeah.
So the questions together.
Okay,
TJ's question.
for the monitoring, let me put TJ's question. But the monitoring, from the monitoring, there's a designated M&E department in the school feeding program that is committed to seeing the light of the day. If this M&E component is not active, we'll be dragging back and forth with them. So there's this platform. And for the M&E tools, I don't know how I will explain all these tools on here. It's a tool that even if you are lying, you yourself will know you are lying. So, and you are not the only person filling the tool. There are other persons who are also using the tool. So if I'm a parent in that school, I'm using the tool, and the health teacher or the cook is saying this is the way it is, there are ways that information will not agree together. And when informations are not agreeing together from the digital platform, it calls for actions to see what is exactly happening in that school. Then you get to the light of the day. Fruits yes. is a suggested. It was a suggested approach, but from the commencement, fruit has not been on the menu. It has not been on the menu. Perhaps maybe it's also a takeaway will tell the government to say, can we add fruit? But we are still clamoring for extension from primary 3 to 6. We are still clamoring for that the state government should play that role and ensure more partnership to engage primary 4 to 6.
All right, we have a few minutes left, but on Facebook, Olufemi Olaoluwa said, this so-called program is a good program, but it is a new way of siphoning public funds now. During the lockdown, they claimed they were feeding students who weren't in school. May God deliver Nigeria. But I recall that we've discussed this before.
Extensively.
And what
the
was
food
mentioned
was taken to the
children
at home.
Raw
yes.
food.
Yes, it was taken to children at home. And I also want to say that the Nigerian factor also played, because I monitored many local government. In fact, Nigerian factor actually played. Your child is not in the public school. But because of the lockdown, you are getting the school uniform of the public school for your children, for them to be reached. And so people will say, no, this is scam. And we started asking, we went as far as taking the school register to the homes to say, okay, your child what's the name? Your name is not found on the register.
All right. Sanitarian said, my take is all about cholera outbreak. The health officers categories are doing their best. All environmental health officers in the nooks and crannies of the local government are up to...
I think the part is saying
doing as well. Okay, I think he's saying that I want to urge the Ministry of Education, the PTA, to ensure that the environment are clean, and also personal hygiene of the wards and their teachers are taken very important, as well as our people. And you say, well, this is important.
Yeah, very well.
Cooks will bring the food to school.
Yeah, like I told you, there's a condition for the cook to bring the food to the school. Even a particular local government, the school has built a kitchen in the school to ensure that this food is being prepared within the school.
All right.
Okay, there's a final comment from WhatsApp. It's Samson. He says, damn, I appreciate you. Are you damn? But all these are not the reality on the field. For instance, 17 naira per kid, how feasible? It's either we're giving them food that is below standard. Another person is 17 naira. I mean, the cost of things.
From the last engagement meeting we had with the state government, everybody reached that the present economy, 17 naira cannot speak to it.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Damilola Shodia, Executive Director, Positive Outreach Foundation. He's been talking to us about sustainability mechanisms in public projects, and of course, this would not have been possible without the good people of Women Consortium of Nigeria, WACON, who are supported by the MacArthur Foundation. Thank you once again for your time.
Yeah, today is Peace Day. Ensure you make peace with everybody. Right. Regardless of anything, make peace.
We're at peace with Dam. Tajudeen keeps calling. I don't know, maybe he has some other information. Maybe BC will take his number.
Or he can drop it on the WhatsApp
or maybe
platform.
You drop us a comment. He's still calling, but we're out of time. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We do sincerely appreciate you. We'll see you again next month, God's willing. My name is Gboyega Olaniyi. We'll be back after this time out.
I'm Lola Meduteni.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
ẹ̀yin ará ẹ ó ti máa gbọ́ nípa ètò homegrown school feeding program tíjọba ààrẹ Muhammadu Buhari ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ rẹ̀ láti máa fún lé ní mílíọ̀nù 24 àwọn ọmọ akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nílẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ ti ìjọba káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ní oúnjẹ ọ̀fẹ́. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ètò náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn níbi tí wọ́n ti máa fún gbogbo ọmọ akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó wà ní ìpele kìíní sí ìkẹta ní oúnjẹ ọ̀fẹ́ ìyẹn ní gbogbo ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ ti ìjọba tó wà ní gbogbo ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ Ògùn ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn. ètò yìí yóò máa wáyé ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ajé Monday sọ́jọ́ ẹtì Friday ní gbogbo ọ̀sẹ̀. yàtọ̀ sí wípé ètò yìí yóò ṣe àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ yìí láǹfààní ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn tún ti sa gbogbo akitiyan rẹ̀ láti fi ètò yìí ṣe kóríyá fún àwọn àgbẹ̀ àtàwọn olóúnjẹ tí yóò máa pèsè àwọn oúnjẹ wọ̀nyí fún àwọn ògo wẹrẹ wa. ẹ wá gbọ́ o ìjọba ò gbé ètò yìí kalẹ̀ láti bọ́ gbogbo aráàlú o tàbí láti fi ààyè fún ẹnikẹ́ni láti lo àǹfààní yìí ìwà àjẹbánu. nítorí ìdí èyí ìjọba nílò ìrànlọ́wọ́ gbogbo aráàlú. tẹ́ bá wá rí ẹnikẹ́ni tó hùwà tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó láti di ètò yìí ẹ dákun ẹ pè ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 08033347896. ìkéde yìí wá látọ̀dọ̀ àjọ Women Consortium of Nigeria WOCON pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn MacArthur Foundation.
Kule, e be like say that thing wey dem dey talk that time not true. Shinde don die. Dem even talk say COVID-19 na im kill am. We wey dey join body leave the house im come. I don die o.
Una never die o. I been tell you before. You dey do like phone wey not get network. You say na rich people disease. Pipe low. Take here marry correct information now. First of all, una for the house go do social distance. Come go quarantine for 14 days to know who don magnet the disease. If you come see person wey catch am, call NCDC. The disease get CV and na headache, hot body pain, dry cough, cold body, sneeze, plus make una no fit treat well. For now, dey clean wella. Wear face mask. If your hand fit touch your neighbor, you too close to get 2 meters so symbol to come off for where e dey. Come dey vigilant well. This message na waka come from Women Consortium of Nigeria, Ogun State Homegrown School Feeding Program with support from MacArthur Foundation.
We educate. That's why we are respected. We inform. That's why we are loved. More music. We are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash.
106.7.
Panorama.
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 Panorama. Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Welcome back to Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. We had our friends from the Women Consortium of Nigeria for the first segment of the program today. So we're back now from the pages, and we've been talking about, or yesterday we mentioned our plan. We let small cats out of the bag, for our plan for the October Fest.
A kitten,
yes. Out of the bag, and we're walking around confirming quite a number of people. I mentioned yesterday that Demola Riwaju has agreed to be a part. Idewo Kikiowo, who is also a member of the APC, has agreed. We're trying to get Professor Kingsley Moazu to also join us. So we have Dr. Ogunyemi, who was our guest yesterday, will also be a part of one of the segments. So we are working around the clock to ensure that we have a robust conversation, 3 hours of conversations as to how the country can grow, how things can get better, how things can improve, especially as regards finances, economy, and of course, with a view on 2023 as well.
Absolutely. Nigeria will be 61, so that is definitely a conversation that is necessary and important to have. And so we are assembling, quite a number of esteemed guests who are specialists in their fields, people who won't just talk out of the side of their mouths, people who know what they're saying, They'll be joining us for that conversation. So mark your calendars, bookmark it, schedule it, do whatever you need to do. But 1st of October, make sure that you are listening and fully locked onto Splash 106.7 FM. And by the way, our Children's Day party or monthly children's party is still ongoing. It's happening. Is that this Saturday?
Yes.
All right, it's here already. So if you're a parent of a child and you want to give your child a good time, especially if your child is born in the month of September, what better way to celebrate their birthday than with other children who are born in the month of September? But don't let the fact that your child isn't born in September stop you from joining other kids. It's going to be a fun-filled party. There's going to be amusement park rides, face painting, great activities, competition, dance competition, you name it. And it's happening at the Ogun State Ministry of Youth and Sport Recreation Center, MQ Abiola International Stadium, Kuto, here in Abeokuta. It's this Saturday, 25th September, from 10 a.m. I'll be there, Gboyega will be there, we'll all be there, Arabella will be there, so make sure you join us.
Yes, we'll be glad to have you. Well, because of time, we'll move on. But we also have a Jesse Fiesta also coming. So we have quite a number of packages. Support us,
And have
I don't know if I
yourself.
should get on my knees and say support us. But of course, it's a time of fun for the children, for adults. We're trying to carry everybody along. So let's get to the newspapers now. I have with me here the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
Well, I have The Nation.
All right, let's start with the headlines now. Clark to Buhari, naval base useless in Kano Desert. With the rider says choice ill-conceived, waste of public fund. You find that in page 8. CBN says attacks on Emefiele based on new forex policy. Page 7. Over 300,000 killed. 1 million others displaced in Northeast due to insurgency. UNICEF. Reps order committee to produce report of assets seized from former Nigerian leaders. As Buhari attends UNGA, that's the United Nations General Assembly, 2 Nigerian groups clash in New York over state of nation. 2023 Southern Middle Belt Alliance slams Northern Elderses Forum on North's plot to retain power. With a rider, only Igbo presidency can rebuild the North. Ohaneze replies Northern Elders Forum. Nigeria needs 300 additional hospitals, 8,000 doctors to provide standard health care. That's according to a report. North huge population claims spurious at the Banjo. Sanwo-Olu signs anti-open grazing bill into law. Kano too small to decide Southeast fate. Okorocha. APC battles crisis in 23 states. Peace panel targets Lagos, Ogun, Osun, 2 others. Wike flays Rivers' exclusion from states to benefit from federal government's planned new loan. Or your PDP kicks as faction passes vote of no confidence in Makinde. Quite a number of headlines on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper today.
And The Nation, on the front page, this story takes the lead. VAT row, federal government directs remittance by firms to FIRS. Deadline for August returns expires today. LCCI, we are still confused. Let states grow, says Wike. Gombe governor, we cannot pay wages without our share. Anti-open grazing law takes effect in Lagos. 30 Yahoo boys held. Buhari to push global COVID-19 vaccine equity at UNGA 76. Power shift splits north-south groups. Okorocha, APC bound to zone power to south. Lasso VC, I will prioritize workers' students' welfare. Government to unbundle NRC. And there's a picture of Plateau State Polytechnic students protesting their lecturer strike on Yakubu Gowon Highway in Jos yesterday. Government not interested in naming terror sponsors. 1,182 cholera cases in 13 states within a week. I hope that you're trying to keep your environment as clean and sanitary as possible with the cholera outbreak. It should be something you do normally, but be extra cautious in these times. It also says 61 have been hospitalized in Oyo. Resident doctors reject court's return to work order. Southeast pupils to sit for missed WASE. There's a couple on the Punch, Premium Times, and Vanguard. Or perhaps you want to take those. Let me start with Punch, where on COVID-19, FCT leads with 121 cases as NCDC registers 393 infections and 6 deaths. Southern Middle Belt Alliance tackles NEF over voters' claim and 2023 presidency. On VAT for brothers, stop illegality first. Wike tells federal government as Gombe fears stoppage. Like Igboho, Kanu will get victory, says lawyers. Abia Court resumes hearing today. Presidential panel sells 7-story FRC and Lagos building for 100 million naira.
Premium Times, Nigeria not interested in naming, shaming alleged terrorism sponsors presidency. COVID-19, Nigeria records 6 deaths, 393 new cases on Monday. Sokoto shuts down telecommunication networks in 14 local government areas. That's talking banditry there. Nigeria politician indicted in US, UK may become governor.
And that's Andy Uba from what I've seen in this brief glance.
All right. Nigeria records 2,000 deaths from snake bite every year. Minister, APC has no justification not to zone presidency to Southeast Okorocha. INEC registers 3.1 million in 12 weeks.
Yeah, in journalism, you don't.
Okay, so veteran journalist and public affairs commentator joins us this morning. I would like to start from this particular story. So many stories of interest here. I hope we'll be able to cover as many as possible. Clark to Buhari, naval base useless in Kano Desert. Many people have raised this in the past as to how the federal government is intent on setting up a naval base in Kano.
Well, that's one position or one argument that would be difficult for you to win, particularly from the southern angle. But as a public analyst, as a journalist, that's one of the areas where I'm disturbed with my colleagues in the media. We should not swim with the tide. We should try and move away from doing our analysis. Really, we should always endeavor every opportunity to educate and do everything that will enlighten, because that's our core responsibility, the people. For this argument, if I look at E.K. Clark's statement in terms of a naval base, a new one in the north, we rather expand, modernize, make the ones that are already there efficient and competitive against any other navy wherever they are in the world. That would have been my own priority. But every position is considered along where do you come from, north or south, your religion, and of course your political party. That's where we find ourselves. So that's where that argument is coming from, apart from the one I've said about the prioritization. Or else I will say about the London Underground station were built over 100 years ago. The population of UK today is 64 million. So 100 years ago, perhaps, they are less than 1 million. And they had that kind of connection that connected the entire London, the city of London, 100 years, over 100 years. I think that's visionary. And I think that's what we should be looking at. That's my position on that. Nothing is wrong. A lot of misplacement of argument have called about it because there's no river. There are several rivers in Kano. Some say it's not deep enough. For those who know Ilaje area, the water side of Ondo State, I was at, I've forgotten the name of the place, but it's after Okitipupa. And I saw this river, Benga. It's less than 50 meters width, less than 30 meters width. And if you look at it, because it's a very clean water, the depth, you think is something that you can just put your hand and do. And just as I was admiring the natural landscape of that place, the sand there was this white, this stable, pure white. That was the sand bigger. Those who know the area will know that I'm speaking exactly what I saw. Now, those that was admiring it, and I saw this vessel passing, carrying tons and tons of what they say were petroleum products. And I said, this big thing on this small river, I said, this thing you are looking, and that vessel you are seeing is going all the way to Port Harcourt. So those who don't know Nigeria will just sit down and make comments on different things. So, like I said, if you are talking of priority because of what you are here, I will say, okay, Clark, you are correct. But beyond that, with the other reasons I've advanced, I will also do the same if I am the one in government.
All right. Well, another story of interest is the federal government wading in on the VAT row. It says here that as the deadline for the remittance of the value-added tax VAT for August expires today, the federal government has told companies to pay to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS. This, it said, would accord with the order by the Court of Appeal for a status quo antebellum. AGF and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami clarified that the status quo referred to the state of affairs before parties went to court. Well, this had indeed caused quite a quandary between lawyers who were like arguing as to exactly what status quo means in this regard. But it looks like the federal government is saying that companies and states should abide by the appeal court ruling that orders that, things should remain as or go back to what they were before the order came in from the federal high court. Even the River State doesn't seem like it's listening. And there are also some who are
joined so that they won't be like, well, I've listened to a lot of arguments about what status quo. In fact, I had an argument, I think it was Panorama platform or one other platform, with one of my colleagues on what does status mean. I think status should mean before we approach the court. And the River State has done its deed before federal government went to the appeal court. So I think River State will be right. That's my own position as an informed person. I'm not a lawyer. But more to that argument, just like I said about the first issue, about educating and enlightening people, I support the opportunity that has reared its way for states to be autonomous, fiscal restructuring or restructuring. That's what I'm saying. This is the opportunity. So I support the stand of those states who wants to collect VAT on their own. I also disagree and will try to let those states or those who think it will do a damage to other states to educate themselves and enlighten them. No, I think what it will do is to help them to look elsewhere, to think deep and deep. I am of the position, I'm repeating, I said it, that there is no state in this country that cannot stand on its own. And of course, we don't have to stand at the same pedestal. The world, nature did not build us equal. It never happens. 53 states in America, we know the ratings, they are far different from each other. Right. One is far up there, one is far down. That's the way it should be. But every state should be able